Welcome to Crimson Guitars, welcome to my home studio, and welcome to episode 28 of Luthiers Question Time, the live stream and podcast all rolled into one. If you're interested in guitar building in any way, shape or form, general tools and woodworking and just stuff and nonsense, I am here to answer your questions. If you want the compressed down version, then check out our podcast on Stitcher and Apple Podcasts and Spotify, all of these fantastic places where you can have my not so dulcet tones assaulting your ear holes, randomly talking about guitars and stuff on a weekly basis. If that sounds of interest, then please check it out. Anyhow, this does not work without questions, so please, seriously, 100%. Whoa. What am I looking at there? Hit me with questions. That was something to do with Formula 1, I think. My phone is now buzzing away because we already have questions. First one of the day. This is from Crowe saying, the offer of OBS is still available. You might want to give it a try. We have had issues with the live streaming software that I paid for, called Wirecast, which is the sort of pro version, just not playing very nicely with everything me. I think the problem is that I am a technical difficulty, and that is it. So yeah, with that, I'm probably going to give that a go at some point. Jap Custom Guitars, via our Discord, there is an invitation code that will be popping up on your screens in the chats. If you want to join us on Discord, that would be cool. It says, hey Ben, I was wondering if it was okay to put finishes over my shielding paint and if it could affect its efficiency. I want to keep the black look before it's buffed. It would better fit with my build. Yes, you can put a finish over it. Now, watch the video that went live this morning. I think this question came in last night, looking at the timestamp. My final episode on the GGBO may well have just, in the eyes of many, utterly ruined the guitar. I love it, but yeah. And we'll talk about that more anon, I'm sure. The only thing that I will always say when one is talking about finishes and compatibilities, you always have to test what you are doing because nothing is a given. I applied a rub and buff type gilt cream over the shielding paint. I then applied a combination at various times in the build, melamine lacquer and water-based wipe-on varnish over these things, and it worked absolutely fine, and it works fine. But yeah, finish is a very broad church, very broad category, and I can't guarantee everything. So yeah, run some tests and you should be okay. Garage Master Guitars, again via Discord, said, hey Ben, could you recommend some quality drill bits please? I would happily do that, especially for drilling for fret dots. I always find mine aren't clean, which tends to show if using Black Star Bond to glue them in. Many thanks. That Black Star Bond, that stuff is game changing. I absolutely love it. I'm trying to figure out if I'm actually sponsored by Starbond or not. We have an affiliates code with them if you're in the US, and it should be in the description of the videos, and we sell them now at Crimson Guitars through our website for everyone else because, quite frankly, I love the product. I don't think that's a sponsorship, but I do have a vested interest in you purchasing it. But the main reason is it's just worth it. Anyhow, the question of drill bits, yes, 100%. I have been dabbling with Star M. Look at that, I've even picked up the 6mm one, which is what you need for most. These are incredibly good drill bits. I got these through Workshop Heaven. They made in Japan. They are incredibly well made, and they have a very long spiral, which means that when you use them to drill through something, the drill bit does not grab and pull the drill, or the pillar drill or the hand drill or whatever you're using through the work, which is a good thing. Now, I am also well known for being a fan of FAMAG drill bits. These things are incredible, but you can probably see on the video just the difference in the helical, the spiral. These things are much more of a spiral, which gives a better finish, but also means that if you drill through, it's likely to pull. These are the better drill bits, but these are 100% good enough for what you want. Essentially, you get what you pay for, especially with drill bits. And instead of buying a whole set of these, which is expensive and will last you for a very, very long time, you can just buy, I'm putting that back in the wrong place, you can just buy the drill bit you need, or drill bits or two. I would say you need a 6mm drill bit, a 2mm drill bit, and a 10, the 6 for front dots, 2mm for most side dots, 10mm for most tuners. Not very many people use the vintage style tuners, and potentially an 11.5mm for tunomatics, etc. If those are the only expensive drill bits you have, you will still not regret it. So that's what I would say. Now, we have a super chat. It is $6.99 Canadian dollars, again from Jap Custom Guitars. How's it going? It says, another quick question. What is best to put over the finish of the neck? Wax or finishing oil? I want to have a matte feel with the least friction. Okay, so either of those are an option. Always put your drill bits back where they belong. Always. I should start a Luthiers rulebook, shouldn't I? Or write a Luthiers rulebook. I will often actually do both, and this is why I'm pausing here. I often use guitar finishing oil as the finish. Okay, rewind. Using wax on its own as a finish on a neck is probably not the best of ideas, I would say. You need something that's going to penetrate into the wood and key in and grab and then be the finish that will build up to a certain extent, and that is what the combination of penetrating and high build guitar finishing oils does. You penetrate into the wood, and then the oil grabs onto itself and builds up a thicker layer within the wood of protection, and then on top of that you add wax if you fancy it. But what I would say in this case is use the guitar finishing oil. I'm assuming you already have some, and rub it down with, I'm going to say wire wool if you have wire wool. I'm about to throw the last of mine out. I really hate the stuff. Or wet and dry finishing paper, so add about 1500 grit or 2000 grit and get a very, very smooth, very matte finish without going over into gloss. And if you like that feel, which is one of my favorite feels, fine. If not, then you go and you add a microcrystalline wax or something like that. And the tip with wax is to apply it using a warm rag, if at all possible. Not hot. You don't want to melt the wax and get all those fumes in you, especially not melamine. But a warm rag is a good idea. Andy Betts has sent a £5 super chat with no question. If you have a question, Andy, please let us know. I'm trying not to sneeze. It's apparently hay fever season here. Okay, and super chats are definitely the way. Oh my gosh, excuse me. Super chats are the way to absolutely guarantee that I will see your question. We have lots of people asking questions, and that way it pops up in front of my screen, and we go. And here is an example. Chester Yazwinski has sent a $5 super chat, said, "Hey Ben, look here," all in caps. "It's your boys, the gunmen from the colonies. Ha! Stay awesome. Happy Father's Day. We will bug you again later, my dude. Please bug away. You guys repair and restore guns and pistols and things like that, and it is, well, beyond my capabilities and then some. Although I really am looking forward to doing a gun-based build at some point using checkering tools and that whole sort of walnut kind of a feel. Okay, Brandy B, BB Guns, has come in with a $5 super chat and said, so I've ruined my build temporarily with a dull plane and inexperience. I have ruined many things with dull planes and inexperience, and then sometimes with sharp planes and inexperience. That said, how much should one spend on sharpening equipment and where to buy? This is a very good question. Okay. I made a video with, funnily enough, Matt from Workshop Heaven 2 or 3 years ago. He's an incredibly interesting chap, collects vintage tools. We met at the same vintage tool auction actually, and struck up a friendship, and he has a fantastic tool shop, and this is me as a tool shop owner drooling. But I visited him and he told me and convinced me that I was wrong about the Scary Sharp system. And essentially, yeah, I've been tidying and there's still stuff everywhere. It's a piece of plate glass with some high quality 3M made, for the most part, lapping PSA backed abrasives. Abrasives is the word I'm looking for. So it's sticky backed and it sticks on your plate, and it is absolutely engineered to be perfect. The first many times I talked about it, I absolutely denigrated the entire process because I was using the wrong stuff. I was just trying to use wet and dry paper, trying to hold it somehow on the glass without spray adhesive, etc., and it always went wrong and messed things up. That is the lowest barrier to entry sharpening system available that can get you incredible results. I would go one further. I would say get that. You're probably talking like $50-$60 maybe for an entry level beginner's way to get into that, with enough to do quite some time, to be honest. That's my alarm. I should really turn that off on. That's the alarm to put the chickens to bed, or make sure they don't. I'm going to set it to just before live stream time. How's that? Oh, the digressions. They hurt me as much as they hurt you. I'm trying to remember which drawer to open here. That sharpening system plus a strop of some sort. Now, a strop does not have to be a piece of wood with leather on it. It could literally just be a piece of wood. And you then need to have a polishing compound of some sort. And my favorite of all time is Autosol metal polish. Put some of that on the strop, and the final thing you do is hit your whatever you are sharpening on that strop, and you will be sorted. I have done quite a few videos on sharpening, and if you have any more specific questions, check them out. There are other options. You can also buy a Japanese waterstone, even a double-sided Japanese waterstone, which would be 800 grit and 1200 grit, and then a separate kingstone at about 3000 grit. Those stones need to be kept in water all the time, and they're very soft, and as a result of that, they wear down and you end up with dips. So it is, if you're going to go that route, advisable to buy a separate 800 grit waterstone, and every time you finish using the stones, you rub your flat 800 grit against the other one, and between the two they will flatten each other. That incidentally is how granite surfacing plates are made. They just rub two lumps of granite together, and yeah, they flatten each other. I'm assuming there's a carborundum or diamond paste or something in between them. And then you've got ceramic sharpening stones like the Shapton stones that I still use almost all the time, even though I've got this. I just have the habit of using the Shapton stones. They're incredibly pricey, hundreds of pounds, incredibly good, but incredibly pricey, and not really necessary, really. Diamond stones, same thing. You've got cheap diamond stones that I wouldn't touch with a barge pole, and very, very expensive ones. Much of a muchness. Scary sharp. Check it out. Okay, Jap Custom Guitars has come in with another $7 super chat and said, what I forgot to say is that my neck is already finished with water-based finish. Ooh, varnish. Okay, your last GGBO video made me question myself. What's best? In that case, I would. So, funnily enough, again, for the second time answering one of your questions, my GGBO build had a water-based varnish on it. No, it had a melamine varnish on the neck, and I rubbed that back. I hit it back with wire wool, which is the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back. The wire wool dust has just got everywhere, and I just hate it, and it needs to be gone. I then applied a coat of guitar finishing oil over that. Now, I didn't apply the coat for the feel of it. I applied the coat of wire wool. I already had the feel. I had already dulled that varnish down with the wire wool. What I applied the finish for was to keep that feel, but to brighten up the varnish, because many varnishes, when dulled down like that, don't look good. They really don't. They're not. They're designed to be and engineered scientifically to be shiny, or to be made shiny. Leaving them matte just looks weird. So that's why I used that. You could quite easily have put a Renaissance. I could quite easily have put a Renaissance wax over that as well and be done with it, but it wasn't. It was not to be. Okay. Here we are. Let us have a look at some questions. Okay. Hi Ben, how can I send an in-progress guitar to Crimson for finishing without the stain getting destroyed or getting damaged? Again, this was via Discord. Actually, there is a whole part of the Discord server, the Crimson Discord server, specifically for questions for the live stream. I would say, I've just noticed a bunch of buttons on here that I can actually push that look interesting. Oh, how interesting. Huh. Fair enough. Hi. Yes, I'm tired. Yes, I'm easily distracted. No, I don't think I'm ever going to change. Okay, so the stain isn't going to get destroyed just by putting it into a guitar case and shipping it to Crimson HQ down in Dorchester, unless the guitar is going through various incredibly humid environments, etc., which can potentially happen, but most guitar cases are fairly good at stopping that. I wouldn't put it in a bag for that. I think that would be superfluous and liable to actually start causing trouble. That being said, if there is an issue when the stain comes and it's obvious when the guitar arrives and it's obvious that something's happened, we could fix it for you. I mean, obviously we make the stains, so that's not an issue. Yeah, it's just a case about it's putting it in a good quality guitar case, making sure that that good quality guitar case is properly packed and insulated and bubble wrapped and all that jazz inside of a box. We've had some people ship us some things in the past that should not have survived the journey. In fact, I've done that myself and feel very bad about that to this day. This was when I was young and stupid. I'm now old and stupid, but I wouldn't ship a guitar in a soft case ever again. Anyway. Okay, Sean Verhey says, read me, Ben. Any news on the pastel colour stains? The office didn't get back to me. Oh, for crying out loud. Seriously? Hi, Sean. Yes. So, What's on the Bench is coming live next week. I'm not entirely sure what day. We're going to be figuring that out tomorrow, but I filmed it, and I have got just a quick look at some of the colours and asked Josh about that, and it is literally imminent. I have seen stickers even We've got 2 or 3 of the colours that are still just being tweaked. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. But they are coming. The fact that the office did not get back to you, however, that fills me with seething rage and anger. We have literally just taken on a whole new member of staff specifically to look at customer service with regards to our social media messages, Instagrams and Facebooks and all of that jazz. And there will be there's no excuse. There's no excuse. My staff there know how I feel about this. So yeah, it is what it is. Seething anger.